Hi guitarlings, this is Gray over at Hub Guitar. Today we're going to do a quick nursery rhyme for solo fingerstyle acoustic guitar. I think this is a great way to get an introduction to the techniques of solo guitar on a familiar and hopefully easier tune to learn. It could also be a great way to entertain any kids you might know. So here we go. So we're going to start with a G major chord. We're going to put our third finger, which is our ring finger, on the third fret of the bass string. And we're going to put our pinky finger on the third fret of the second string. Then we're going to use our thumb, index, middle, and ring to pluck all four of those at once. Then we let an open E go, and we can play with that with any finger really. And then we re-attack the third fret of the second string. And now we go down with the index finger to the first fret of the second string. That's why we chose this fingering, because easy to get to that. Any other fingering for this chord, and I've got to kind of let go of the bass to reach there. So if I start with these two fingers, I can get a smoother sound. In measure 2, we've got an E minor. You can get away with just one finger there because we don't have to actually play the fifth string for measure 2. So we're going to do second finger on the second fret of the fourth string and play our E minor. Then index finger can go ahead and put the C on the first fret of the second string, and pinky finger can follow with the third fret D, falling down. Now in measure 3 we've got this C minor 6 chord. Of course I just couldn't resist throwing in a chord that I learned at my fancy music school. So we're going to put our ring finger on the third fret of the fifth string, and we're going to put our index finger on the first fret of the fourth string, and then we're going to put our middle finger on the second fret of the third string. And that creates that nice C minor 6. And then we have to get that B in there somehow, so we are probably going to lift up the index finger. Of course, if we wanted to avoid having to lift up a finger, we could find an alternate fingering, but I found that to be kind of tricky. So it's not always a good idea to try to optimize everything. Sometimes you have to just compromise and play something in a way that's a little bit more affordable. So that's C minor 6, open B, and then C on top, which is the first fret of the second string. And then that melody happens again, which is on a G chord now. So I'm going to put my third finger on the bass, G, and then pluck all of those, and then go to C and D, or first fret and third fret if you will. So here's measures 1 through 4 again, if you will. Now going to measure 5 and 6, it's actually the same as measures 1 and 2, so we can kind of gloss over those a little bit. When we get to measure 7 though, we need to do a D chord, and unfortunately because the melody note is here on the second fret of the third string, we can't really do our sort of standard open D chord. We have to build that chord under the melody so that the melody can be heard as the top note. So I've got my first finger on the second fret of the third string, I've got my ring finger on the fourth fret of the fourth string, and my pinky on the fifth fret of the fifth string. Just like that. And then I do actually have a finger left over, which is my middle finger, to grab the D, or the third fret of the second string. You might find that it's kind of hard for you to make that stretch, and maybe you can just lift up and let go of the chord for that note. If you can though, it's better to try to get them all at once. Okay, and then at the end we've just got a G major chord. Notice that that's the melody, lady, so that's B, G. So we play the G major chord, the B on the top, and then we throw in another open G, and we're done. Alright, so that's it for London Bridge. Thanks very much for watching.